And we are live. Welcome to another edition of DT Live. This is a rather impromptu live stream this evening. This evening I'm just going to take a quick look at a Linux distribution that I have never taken a look at before. It's kind of a newer distribution. Hasn't been around very long. It's called Zoonity. Zoonity with a Z. Let's see. This is actually Zoonity already booted up. Let me take you to their webpage here at uxos.com, actually uxoslinux.com. So I guess that's officially the brand UXOS, but they call this particular Linux version I'm going to take a look at tonight Zoonity. That's Zoonity, Zoonity OS Britannia. They had a recent, I guess, update to that particular ISO just a few days ago, July 31st, about 5 days ago. So the ISO is pretty fresh. Zoonity OS Britannia is a Xfce distro. It is a Xubuntu, I believe 1804 based distro. Uses Xfce, of course, but the Xfce desktop has been arranged in such a way to kind of mimic the old Unity desktop. So that is what they're after here. Basically, Xfce made to mimic Unity. So that's what we're going to take a look at this evening. And already have a few people in the chat. Again, I didn't give really any heads up for this live stream. I've been very busy the last few days. That's why I haven't been posting as many videos, especially the last week or two. I've posted, 3 or 4 in the last week, but that's a step back from my usual output just because I've been very busy at my real job and I haven't been at this computer to do a lot of these things. So tonight I had a little free time, and because I had just a couple of hours before I need to get to bed because I've got to work tomorrow too, you know what, I figured I would do a quick live stream. I had this ISO downloaded. I actually downloaded this ISO 5 days ago when it was first released, and I was been planning on making a video on it. I figured, let's do it live. So let's see. Silent Reboot says the live stream video is wrong. Yes, you are correct. Thank you for. It will actually, the live stream title video will be correct after the recording. It is just incorrect right this second. Let me fix that. I appreciate you letting me know that, by the way. I can fix that, though, in about 30 seconds. No harm, no foul on this, though. Again, once the actual video is completed, once the stream is complete and the video processes, the title will be correct. So I'm calling this a quick look at Zoonity OS Britannia. And in just a couple of minutes, that should appear as normal on YouTube. Thank you for letting me know about that silent reboot. Like I said, I just decided really about 10 minutes before I hit the start streaming button to do this stream tonight. So I quickly, made a show description, actually made that thumbnail that you guys saw. Let's see if the thumbnail is actually showing in YouTube. I hope I did that right. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, everything looks straight now. And we have Ubuntu-verse. He was the first one here in the chat. He says, hi, Dark Card. The Mick Bird says, early bird reporting for duty. Lamer, of course. How you doing, Lamer? Silent Reboot. Faustino. PC, TLC. How you doing, Colin? Good to see you. Dan Simmons. He says, oh, cool. I just downloaded this, too. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I downloaded it a few days ago. I didn't get around to actually installing it in a VM until earlier today, and I haven't looked at it at all. I wanted to come at this kind of fresh, so I haven't played with it. Everything is stock, out of the box. Haven't touched anything as far as any kind of settings. So, yeah, Silent Reboot is asking, what time is it with you now? Where I'm at, it is 8:40 p.m. That is the central time zone here in the U.S. Stephen Anderson says, good evening, DT. How you doing, Stephen? Good to see you. And AJC Disciple says, Zoonity OS? Question mark? Yes. Nobody's ever heard of it. This is one of those really kind of obscure distros. Somebody mentioned it to me about 2 or 3 weeks back. They don't really have a proper website for the most part. I don't know anything about it. A few days ago, I saw Linux and Other Stuff, that particular YouTube channel, David, I believe is his name. He did a quick look at Zoonity. But other than, you know, a few people asking me about it on my channel 2 or 3 weeks back, and then a recent video by Linux and Other Stuff, I've never heard of Zoonity. It's not going to be on Distro Watch or anything like that. So, again, kind of a obscure Linux distro. Alan Rocco says, sup? What's up, Alan? Mark Yates, what in the blue hell is a Zoonity OS Britannia? Yeah, this is one of the probably least well-known distros that I've reviewed on this channel before. You know, every now and then I like doing some of these, what I call garage distros. These distros somebody just recently made. Maybe, you know, the development team is as small as 1 person. But, you know, sometimes these things are fun. Sometimes you can find really neat distros. You know, checking out these things that are not on Distro Watch that nobody's ever heard of. Occasionally you find a diamond in the rough. And, you know, who knows, maybe a year or 2 down the road, people will know about Zoonity OS, you know. Everything's got to start somewhere, right? Even the big distros nowadays, things like, you know, what's the hotness right now? Things like Manjaro and Solus and MX, you know, these things, you know, weren't at the top of Distro Watch overnight, right? They had to start somewhere. They started with, you know, probably 1 person's idea. Hey, I want to create a distro, and it grew, right? Same thing. All right, Carl Snyder. How you doing, Carl? Good to see you. John Kennedy is here. MC support. Tried. It was fun. Not a daily driver. Yeah, I doubt this is going to be something that I would run personally, but mainly because I don't like these distros that, for the most part, these desktop environments that are trying to mimic another desktop environment. For example, before I even get into this, okay, you have Xfce trying to mimic Unity, and it's an Ubuntu-based distro. Unity is still in the repos, and Unity's still fantastic. So but I like Xfce, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna like Xfce trying to be Unity. You know, so yeah. Silent Reboot says, smash that thumbs up, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah. Lamer says, yeah, support DT on his live stream. Like the stream. Yep. Harris says, congrats on the 10K. Thank you, Harris. Yep. Still going strong. Crossed that 10K mark, you know, what, about a week or so ago. Heck, we're closing in on 11K now. It's crazy. Guess adding, you know, on average, close to 2K new subscribers every month. So this is great. It is pending in the Distro Watch list, says Dan Simmons. So Zoonity OS at least is on their, I guess, waiting list in Distro Watch. These distros, when they're first submitted to Distro Watch doesn't list them right away because, I mean, they're not going to take the time to just put anything on Distro Watch just because, you know, Joe Bob decided to create his own spin of Ubuntu or Arch or whatever. You know, they make them wait a while, and they also want to see if there's actually regular releases of these things, because so many distros, especially these smaller distros, somebody creates it and then they don't maintain it. They may have that initial release and you will never ever get another release of that particular distro again. So Distro Watch does have a little bit of a waiting period. Yeah, Seduction is good, I hear, and Voyager Linux. I've never tried Voyager. Seduction's great though if you like Debian unstable. That's the thing. You got to be prepared to run something like Debian SID. It's not for the newer user. It's I mean, the SID branch of Debian is called unstable for a reason. So yeah, Parker D. It's 3:40 a.m. here, so I'll have to watch the upload later. Have fun. All right, Parker. I doubt I'm going to do too much here. Like I said, I'm going to take a quick look at Zoonity OS. We might spend, I don't know, half an hour with it. I don't plan on streaming, you know, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how things go here. Yeah, Carl says, DT, good to see you too, brother. Thanks, Carl. Carl, of course, a regular member here of the Linux community here on YouTube. Carl is a fantastic artist who does a lot of great graphic design work. Most of you guys have seen a lot of Carl's work on various websites, and matter of fact, I should actually link to Carl's he's got a Debian art page with a ton of good stuff, a lot of good Linux wallpapers, like branded Linux wallpapers for various distros. Daniel Kovacs, he says, and sometimes you find a rough diamond. Yeah, could be the case here. Could be. I bought 50 blank DVDs for trying Linux distros. Wow. DVDs, you know, you can buy USB sticks now. Matter of fact, yep. I've got this one right here. I actually installed, you guys know I did a video recently on Present Arms. He made his custom PC Linux OS with all my OpenBox configs. Excuse me. I installed that on one of my drives here on my main machine. I have 5 SSD drives now in my main production machine, so I installed Present Arms, that custom OpenBox PC Linux OS on my machine, and it's fantastic. I would love to do some streaming from it eventually, maybe try to live in it a little bit, that PC Linux OS OpenBox. I have to get I have to get OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. It works. The only thing is NVENC is not showing up for an encoder, and I really need NVENC to make my videos and especially to stream. You know, I need the hardware encoding. Right now, the only thing that's showing up is X264, which is the software encoder. And that's not going to work that well, especially for doing things like live streaming. It's just not going to work. The great thing about Arch and Arch-based distros like Manjaro is the AUR, you know, all the packages available. I can get, you know, NVENC and all that right away. So that's really one of the reasons why I stay on Manjaro, is because everything just works in it. It just works. Ubuntu-based distros, for the most part, the same way. Everything just works. Once you branch away from the Debian-based world and the Arch-based world, some of the stuff, especially that I need to do my work on a daily basis, just isn't there. I end up having to compile stuff from source, build it from source. So for NVENC, I would have to build from source my own FFmpeg, for example. That's tough. Or compile my own OBS. That's tough. Lamer just asked, could he be a mod so he can post Carl Snyder's DeviantArt page? Absolutely, Lamer. Let me make you a mod so you can post that link. I didn't have it handy, but if you've got it handy, absolutely post it. All right. Just checking out some of the chat. Voyager is saucy. Carl Snyder, Sid will break your toys. Yes, Sid. I mean, I've played a lot with Sid, and yeah, things breaking it. Kevin Patel says, "What's up, Derek? How you doing, Kevin?" Yeah. So, all right, guys. Yeah, Lamer, he posted Carl's DeviantArt page. You guys really need to check that out. Some beautiful wallpapers. Yeah, don't put a blank Blu-ray disc to burn. They don't work in all hardware. And Mr. Smarty Pants. How you doing, sir? He says ADT. All right, Mr. Smarty Pants, you're actually just in time. We've waited a little while. What I think I'm going to do is go ahead and take a look at Zoonity OS. I'm going to take a look at it, of course, in a VM this evening. So right before the stream, I went through an install here. The install, I didn't bother doing that here on the stream for sake of time, mainly because it's Xubuntu-based. You guys have seen the Ubiquity installer, the standard Ubiquity installer in Ubuntu, Xubuntu, Kubuntu, all the Ubuntu-based distros for the most part. This one was a little different. It had some Bodhi Linux branding as part of the Ubiquity installer. It was kind of strange, so I guess they're using the Bodhi installer. But for the most part, the same install you've seen 100 times, nothing to it. 10 minutes, you're done. And this is the desktop you are presented with. And this is Xfce, but again, it's made to look like Unity. So we have this dock on the left-hand side. I'm not really sure what they're using for that. Again, I haven't taken a look at it before now. This is kind of a first impression. We have our global menu at the top. I'm not sure what this is a global menu for, because there's nothing open right now. If I open, say, the file manager, we'll Okay, now there's a global menu for the Thunar file manager. Close that window. What else is on the panel? Of course, we have our standard, sys-tray, all our notification stuff, clock. Then at the end, is this the power sessions? No, this is actually the Xfce whisker menu, all the way to the right. That's the whisker menu. Okay, that is interesting because if you're trying to mimic Unity, having that traditional whisker menu thing there, me personally, if I was actually going to run this, I would just get that off the panel. That has no business really being here, because if you're going to do a Unity kind of interface, well, this should give us some kind of full screen launcher, and it does. Just a quick look at, well, it's actually not going to be a quick look at the programs installed because there's a ton of programs on here. The ISO was 2.2 gigs in size. I'm going to point out some of the ones that are more noteworthy. The first one is Albert. What is Albert? Well, just clicking on it does nothing, but when I first launched Zoonity, you guys didn't see it on camera, but a program called Albert, a preference box came up and asked me what hotkey did I want to set for Albert. I don't know what Albert is, at least I didn't when I set the hotkey, so I set it to Super A for Albert. Super A, oh, it is a run command prompt, so I can run anything here. For example, I know Thunar is here, I can just start typing Thunar, hit enter. So it's kind of like, any of these other run command programs, things like Synapse, or what's the other ones that were popular a while back. You remember GNOME Pi, some of the current ones that I really like, more minimal ones like Rofi, those sorts of things. You just hit your key binding to get your launcher up and then start typing. It's Firefox here. If I type it right, it might be. Firefox is not, though. So what are they using? How about if I just type browser? Google Chrome is here. Actually, Chrome and Firefox are both here. I'm not going to launch either one for now. By the way, the Unity style global, no, it's not a global, but this launcher here, super key does not work. That is kind of a deal breaker. I wonder if I could set that to work. Because, I mean, if you're going to mimic Unity, I mean, like the main feature of Unity was, hey, if I want to bring up that dash, you remember the Unity dash where everything took place? The super key. So I really hope there's a way to set that, but for now, I'll just click on it. So Albert was that run command prompt. Other things that they have installed, you won't see ClamTK installed on most systems by default. Antivirus is really not needed on Linux systems, but that is the front end to ClamAV. ClamTK is the GTK front end to ClamAV. ClamAV is usually run in the terminal. But this is where you would scan your system for viruses. Windows viruses, because there's really not any Linux viruses. But it'll scan your Linux system for Windows viruses, I guess to help make sure that you don't spread it unknowingly to friends, family, coworkers that may be running Microsoft Windows. Now, docx preference, docx, okay. So if I click docx, docbarx, or whatever, I'm assuming, yes. So now I have two instances of this launcher over here. So this is docbarx. Now I don't need two of them running, so let me open up a terminal. I'm going to type the command xkill. Now, if I just click on what I want to kill, boom, one of those panels goes away. All right, and that is that. So docbarx is the panel. Etcher is here. Etcher is a really fantastic USB burning utility. It is an Electron app. So it does take a few seconds to launch, but I mean, it's just a few seconds to launch. But as far as burning a USB stick, like I mentioned, my USB stick for the PC Linux OpenBox ISO that Present Arms made just for me, I put this in my drive right now. I select image, it opens up, my file manager somewhere, and I go to my downloads page where I have that ISO downloaded, click it, boom, starts burning the ISO to this stick. Etcher is probably my favorite USB stick burner right now. It just works. The only downside with Etcher is you can't make Windows live USB sticks. Works fantastic for pretty much every Linux distro I've ever tried. You're not going to burn Windows with it though. Back to the launcher for a second. File manager, of course, is Thunar, the standard file manager in Xfce. We do have the Mate calculator. I wonder why they went with that, but any calculator works. The GNOME calculator is nice. Calculator is actually not too bad. Mousepad, standard text editor in Xfce, plain text editor. Go back to the chat for a second. I don't want to get too far behind with some of what's going on in the chat. A lot of you guys are in the chat. Let's see. All right. Yeah, James F says, "Hey DT, how you doing, James? Good to see you here." And JC Disciple, here goes the ride. Yep. Oh, Suki now. I love me some Xubuntus. You know what? I'm a big fan of Xubuntu too. This is not Xubuntu though. This is a different kind of Xubuntu. This is a strange sort of beast here. Yeah, Carl says thanks for Lamer posting that link. Yep. Let's see, Mick MC support a Jesus Christ disciple. He's asking about AJC disciple's name. Yep. It took me a while to figure out what his username meant too. The A at the beginning kind of throws it off. If his username was just JC disciple, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt what that username means. But having the A at the front, a bit confusing. Yeah, James says, caught you live first time. Your videos are very informative, man. Thanks, James. I don't do these lives, terribly often. I try to do, at least once a week, try to go live when I have some time. I try to save the live streams for when I really don't have anything else planned. I just happen to be here. I have nothing prepared, nothing I'm really going to record and edit and, do any of my proper videos. So the live streams are great when I don't have anything else going on, because I can just hit start streaming, talk about anything, show you guys anything, and when the stream is done and I click stop streaming, that's it. I don't have to go back and edit audio and video, spend hours rendering stuff in Kdenlive or anything like that. So it's great, for these, for these evenings where I don't have, I might have 2 hours of time right now, and that's all I've got. So I really can't do, like a pre-recorded video where I record, half hour or 45 minutes worth of stuff, edit it all, clip it all together, render it in Kdenlive. Sometimes that stuff takes half a day. Let's see, James, you finally got me to install Arch Vanilla. It's awesome. Yep. And I keep telling folks that Arch, as far as the proper Arch install, is not hard. Once you've done it, especially once you've done it, you've done it a few times. I mean, you really don't even need the installation guide after, a half dozen times. People make the Arch install out to be more than it really is. If you've been around Linux for a little while, the Arch install is not bad. For a brand new user, it's going to be crazy hard because they don't know anything, right? I mean, they don't know any shell commands or, Mark Yates says, I don't have much. I'm very, very new. What don't you have much of? Oh, seriously, would love to become one. Well, that's not true. I have some things. I got to give myself more credit. Okay. I guess you're talking about your channel, Mark. Yeah, Mark Yates does have a YouTube channel. And he does need to make more videos. You got to get with it, Mark. Yeah. Steve Paul says, hi, Linux brothers. Yeah. Don't forget the Linux sisters, too. Oh, this chat skipped ahead of me. I don't know why I always open up Firefox for these things. Firefox is really buggy with YouTube, and I complain about it every time I do one of these. One of these days I'll remember to open up Chromium or Vivaldi for this. Yeah, why would I want to burn a Windows thumb drive, says John Kennedy. I wouldn't want to either, but I was just letting you guys know. For those of you... yeah. Yeah, MC support. DT, I thought you didn't like Electron. I'm not a big fan of Electron. For something like Etcher, though, it's such a great program. And yeah, it takes a few seconds to open up, but it's not like I'm gonna use Etcher that much, It's just for burning USB sticks. Electron apps I don't like would be things like Atom. The Atom IDE, you know, for like a text editor, for programming and developing. Because that would be like if I was in that sort of work, right? In that sort of field, if I was a programmer, using something like Atom and waiting 5 to 10 seconds for that thing to load up every time I open it would annoy the hell out of me. Etcher, it's fine. Another good Electron app I like and I install on a lot of my systems, Stacer, the system cleaner, Stacer, really nice. Yeah, AJC Disciple says he's had the username for 15 years now. Yep. Yeah, nothing wrong with your username. It does, like I said, for some of us, it can be kind of confusing. We're trying to figure out what it means, and it does take a minute. But don't change it. You've had it 15 years. Stick with it. Is the full screen launcher sling cold? Okay. Well, let's get back to that. Let me mark my place in the chat here. I can come back to it. So going back through the list of programs here, if I type sling cold here, yeah, slings cold. If I hit enter and the full screen launcher runs again. So that is slings cold. That is the name of the program. If I hit it, yeah. So that's it. Slings cold. Slings cold. That is a strange name. That is a horrible name. We complain so much about the naming structure for a lot of these Linux apps. That is horrible. That name sucks bad. I mean, that was the best name you could come up with, is Slings Cold. Anyway, let me go through some of the other stuff installed here. Anything of note? It has, again, the ISO 2.2 gigs in size, so Steam is already here. Blender is already here. Wow, you don't see Blender already installed on too many distros either. GIMP, Inkscape, a lot of big programs, so that's why the ISO is so big. Ristretto for image viewer, Shotwell, Simple Scan, Corebird for a Twitter client. I don't use Twitter anymore, but I know many of you still do. Firefox is our web browser. Let's see what version of Firefox we're on. This is, again, Xubuntu-based. I'm pretty sure it's Xubuntu 1804 based too. Now I say pretty sure because the website for this thing, again, sucks so bad. There's very little information about anything on their website. The About Firefox, this is Firefox 61, so Firefox already a couple of versions ahead, but Ubuntu 1804 or Xubuntu 1804 I think was released with Firefox 60 or 61. If I do a uname space -r and a terminal, yeah, kernel 4.15, I believe that is the kernel that 1804 shipped with too, so makes sense. Head back to the chat for a second. All right. Yeah, looking forward to Biddle later, Big Daddy Linux Live. Yep, their podcast should start here in about half an hour. You guys be sure to check that out. Rocco and the gang, they entertaining every Saturday night. You never know what you're gonna get over there. Yeah, Pedro, by the way, DT, kind of needs some off-topic help here. Just formatted my HDD accidentally. Okay, well, if you formatted your hard drive accidentally, I'm not sure what other help you need. Everything on that drive is gone, so yeah, you need tips on data rescue. I mean, there's like professional services that can try to restore, like if it's really critical stuff. I mean, companies that'll charge you hundreds of bucks to try to rescue that data. It may work, it may not, but seriously, I mean, if you formatted a drive, there's no going back. So when you're playing, you know, with these installers, you know, make sure the right drive is what you're choosing. And like these graphical installers, they'll tell you this is drive, you know, your, I don't know, Samsung Evo drive. This is your, you know, Corsair drive or whatever brand, you know. Make sure you're formatting the right drive. If you're doing DD commands, make sure if you're trying to format SDA, make sure it's SDA you type and not SDB by mistake, or, you know, some other drive letter. So We've all done it. I mean, I formatted the wrong drive plenty of times. I'm sure people like Colin, PCTLC, who's in the chat, he distro hops so much. I guarantee you, he's formatted the wrong drive before. It happens. But, I mean, it sucks when it happens, but there's no coming back from it. Everything that was on that drive, it's gone. So, yeah, Silence says, thanks for the stream, but I gotta go sleep now. I'll catch up with the rest tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not gonna stream long this evening. Again, it's kind of just me hanging out here this evening. I thought I'd take a look at Zoonity since I had it downloaded. I've had it in my downloads folder for a few days. Let's see, it was that or Sluts Sold, so Slings Cold won the vote. Yeah. Yeah, good one, Carl. Yeah, Slings Cold is like Slingshot on Mac. Okay, well, but Slingshot is a normal name. Slings Cold, that's not even a real word. I mean, what does that mean? Yeah, Daniel says that Carl Schneider, what an assortment of wallpaper. Awesome work. Absolutely. Carl is the man. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. If you ever need a custom version of something, let me know. And that's Carl, yeah. Carl is very generous with his time. Yeah, Mark Yates is asking about the hard drive. Did you overwrite the data or did you write all zeros? Yeah. And that's the thing. Exactly how did you format that drive? Yeah, you can get everything back. I've done it twice. That's PCTLC. You've reformatted the wrong drive twice. Wow. And you were able to recover everything you needed, or just some of it? I'm just curious. I've done it 3 times in a month, says Mark Yates. Wow, you guys are really, really bad. If you're doing that with the DD command, why? If you're that bad with the keyboard, just stop formatting stuff with the DD command. You can also do that actually pretty easily with graphical installers too. If you have a lot of drives of the same brand and type, sometimes it's not easy to tell what drive is what in a graphical installer sometimes. Yeah, Mark Yates says, I've royally screwed myself recently. Backup and clones, yep. And you know, that's another thing. If you have good backups, you know, it'll save you from all of this. If you'd have had a recent backup of that drive, formatting it wouldn't be the end of the world. I say that, I don't have a recent backup of any of my stuff. Nothing, you know, younger than a few weeks, so. I try to remember to back up at least once a month so it wouldn't be like a total loss, but I should be better with backups than I am, especially doing some of the unstable stuff I do. Mark says, no, not DD, just Gparted and not paying attention. I was distracted. Okay. Yeah, DT, it was my backup drive. Pedro, so you formatted your backup drive. And Mark says, I realized it seconds later. I had most of the stuff in the cloud and on my desktop, but it slowed me down, yeah? Well, at least you had good backups. And Lamer says, you can recover a formatted drive, but if you format so much and then recover it, files that got recovered can be corrupted. Yeah. And again, there are services out there, professional services that, you know, you send them the drive, pay them whatever amount of money, you know, and they will try to recover your data. Yeah, Carl says he wiped a partition once with Gparted, and Gparted couldn't rescue the partition. I now back up once or twice a week. Yeah. PCTLC Colin, he mentions he had his USB connected, and he forgot. Yeah. We all have these stories. If you play with these Linux installs the way a lot of us do, it's easy to do. You're gonna format the wrong drive at least once in your life. And you're gonna laugh about it later. Just not today. Okay. Alright, let me take a look at what else is here in Zoonity OS Britannia. Again, a lot of really interesting stuff. So we have Firefox installed. We also have Google Chrome. Google Chrome, of course, is not free and open source software. That is proprietary garbage. So, well, I mean, they're not afraid to put proprietary stuff like Google Chrome and Skype on here. Of course, Steam. NitroShare. What is NitroShare? Is a desktop application that makes it easy to transfer files from one device to another. So is it some kind of cloud service? Not exactly sure what that is. Let me see if I can kill it, though. I don't want it running. I will take a look at system resource usage here in a minute. Thunderbird email clients here. Audacity is also already installed. A lot of the programs I use on a daily basis for multimedia already installed here in Zoonity, so that's a plus. Brasero, Disburner, FreeTux TV. I have never heard of FreeTux TV. It is synchronizing a list of TV channels. So is this like a free TV here? Internet TV? And it's asking me what I want to add. I'm just going to close. Because I don't want to play any TV here on this live stream, obviously. I could have some problems. Google might not appreciate that. But that is a really neat program, FreeTux TV. I might take a look at that off camera. I've never heard of that one before. Headset, Kodi is also here. Pativi, I've used Pativi before. It is a nice video editor, free and open source video editor. I prefer Kdenlive, but Pativi is not bad. Rhythmbox, Spotify is also here. Again, not free and open source software. VLC is good. Oops. And let's see what else we have. AppGrid, of course, for our GUI, I guess, package manager here. AppGrid. If it launches, it's searching, I think. It's either searching or it is frozen up. I'm gonna let it run a minute, see what happens. I think, though, this app has crashed. Let me try that one more time. Open up AppGrid. Why is nothing coming up other than search field? If I search for something, will anything happen? Okay. So, AppGrid is a no-go. Alright, so learn to love the terminal for updating your system and installing and removing software. Yeah, PC TLC Colin says, gotta go DT, need to prepare for Biddle. Thanks for the live stream. Alright, Colin, I'll see you here in a little bit. Let's see, anything else of note here. Again, I just want to point out some of the stuff you don't normally see, which there were a few things you don't normally see on this particular distro. TimeShift. TimeShift is a really neat backup program. Let me open that. It's going to ask for a root password. This takes snapshots of your system. We were just talking about backing up. This would be how you do it. Basically, you can go up here, create a snapshot of your system. It's estimating the system size. I didn't create a very big VM here, so I don't, yeah, and it's telling me I can't do this. And I know I can't do this. I shouldn't have even tried it. But that would create a snapshot of your system if you had space. I only created a 15 gig VM here. That's not nearly enough space. What else was interesting here? VirtualBox is installed by default. That's unusual too. Let's see, the Synaptic package manager, of course, for a GUI package manager. Synaptic probably works where AppGrid did not. So, yeah, Synaptic works just fine. Speaking of just updating in the terminal, let's open up a terminal and do a quick sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. See if there's anything to upgrade. No, again, this ISO's 5 days old, so nothing to do here. Is htop installed? Htop is not. How about a sudo apt install htop? Htop is not a very big program, and it usually installs in seconds, assuming the mirrors are kind of fast on your distros. So now htop. Let's see what we're using here. Almost no CPU, that's normal. We're not really doing anything here. 638 megs of RAM. That's pretty normal for Xfce. And we actually do have quite a bit of stuff going on here with the DocBar X panel at the side and some of the stuff going on here at the top panel, some of the launchers and things, some of the background services running. Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty normal, I think, for Xfce. Back to the chat for a second. Yeah, Colin, before he left, mentions that's why he has a separate partition for his data. Yeah. Good idea. Backups are pretty simplistic, says Ghost. I use the dump command on FreeBSD with incremental backups, then use rsync to send it over to a server of mine. Pretty nice. Lamer says, what distro are you using today? If you're asking about what I'm still using on my main production machine, I'm still on Manjaro. Here in the VM, of course, this is Zoonity OS we're taking a look at. Pedro says, thanks, but I'm going to try it by myself. Special thanks to all the people who said something about this subject. Good luck, Pedro. Hope you get your data back. If it's something that you can't get back yourself, again, there are services for it. They're usually really, really expensive, though. So it may or may not be worth it for you, depending on what kind of data you lost. Yeah, Logan says, I only back up my data drive. I use Symlink to connect to my home directory. That way I can distro hop and save all my info and have scripts to run so I get my programs back and my configurations back. Lamer says it might give you local TV, the free Tux TV. Yeah. And I would have liked to have played with it, but again, we're live streaming here on YouTube. I can't have, anything, like a TV show or a movie start playing here. It would cause me some problems with YouTube, I think. Yeah, Harris says, off topic, but WireGuard is hands down the best VPN implementation. Yeah, I don't know anything about WireGuard myself, but that's good that you're giving a recommendation for a VPN. Let's see, Carl, I'd use Firefox if it would render dark themes properly. Harris says, I get almost 100% of my bandwidth throughput. OpenVPN gives maybe 50%. Okay. Dang, the chat skipped ahead on me. So I lost my place here for a second. Let's see. Logan says, I don't like Firefox. It sucks. With a particular website I can't mention. Why are you viewing that website, Logan? Yeah, you could always set up a repo on GitLab or GitHub if you wanted to bring tips. Not sure. Yeah, Super Garage says he's taking a break from CSGO. I thought about playing a little first-person shooter or something tonight on Steam. Maybe as soon as I'm done this, I go frag a few people for a half hour before bed. I can't stay up too late tonight, unfortunately. Is the kitchen sink in that launcher? Yes. Yeah, there are a ton of programs here. Time shift does not undelete your hard drive, no. Yeah, MC Support says Zoonity only lasted 2 hours on my drive. It's not ready for prime time. Yeah, well, I haven't spent any time with it, but and we haven't delved into this at all other than just taking a look at the programs on it, but I can tell you right now, it's definitely not ready for prime time. For one thing, this DocBar X thing on the side is nothing like the Unity launcher. Super does not get me anything. Super and 1 through 0 would launch things in Unity. Would Super 1, for example, launch, well, if it's anything like Unity, Super 1 should launch that right there, which is the Thunar file manager. Super 1 failed to launch, and it was trying to launch Parole, which is not the Thunar file manager. Super 2 should launch Firefox if it, again, was anything like Unity. Instead, welcome to Pigeon. Pigeon is an instant messaging client. So, yeah, this is nothing like Unity. So, if you're trying to mimic Unity, this is already a complete fail. The global menu at the top is not bad. The panel, actually, is alright. I don't like this over here, the whisker menu. Why did you include that if you were trying to mimic Unity? I don't like, for aesthetics, Unity was pretty sharp looking desktop environment. This is not so much. The transparency behind this DocBar X doesn't look that good, to be honest. The gap between the dock and the panel at the top. Doesn't look good at all. This Slings Cold launcher, not bad. I actually don't mind this. A ton of apps here because I have 6 pages of apps. So this is the first page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Carl mentioned, did they install the kitchen sink? Yeah, they installed pretty much everything they could think of. And I wish some of the programs actually worked, like the app grid. And if you're gonna have this thing on your ISO, and that's kind of an important one too, right? An app store, you need to have that working. If you don't have it working, don't even put it on the ISO. You know, just roll with Synaptic because Synaptic is fine. Of course, the terminal always works, but if you just had Synaptic, I'd have been okay. But when you put that on your ISO and it doesn't work, I don't know. I don't like that. You know what? I think they would have been better off just making a Unity spin. I mean, if they wanted to do something with Unity, just make a Ubuntu with Unity spin. So, getting back to the chat for a second. Yeah, Free Tux TV isn't really supported anymore. It goes all the way to Ubuntu 12.10. Wow. So it's really old. Okay. Yeah. Carl says, thanks for the live stream. I'm off to eat dinner. I'll catch you guys later. See everyone on Biddle, Big Daddy Linux Live. Yep. Yeah, those guys should start streaming in about 10 minutes. Yeah. I was asking about your main distro, says Lamer. Yeah, I'm still on Manjaro. Just because everything works. As long as everything works, I'm going to stick with it. Plus, in Arch, I can find everything I need as far as in the repos. Especially for things like streaming here with OBS. Needing the NVIDIA NVENC encoders, you know, all that stuff is in the Arch repos. Things are in the AUR. I can get FFmpeg compiled with NVENC. It's already in the AUR. You know, that stuff is really easy in Arch. It's also really easy in Debian and Ubuntu-based distros because it's already in the repos somewhere. On other distros, that stuff is a challenge. So I'm gonna stay on Manjaro as long as it's working. I'll install other stuff. I have so many extra drives now that I have this 6-bay IC dock. You know, so now I can have 7 hard drives or 7 SSD drives in my main production machine, but one drive is always going to be Manjaro. As long as it's working, I'm going to do this stuff with Manjaro. But I can hop, you know, I can play around on the 6 other drives in that machine. Right now I have PC Linux OS OpenBox, which is Present Arms custom ISO, on one of my extra drives on my main production machine, and it runs great actually. Love that thing. I have Sabian with the LXQt desktop environment also on one of the drives in my IC dock. It runs fine. I installed Debian SID on a drive. It's no longer there. I've already wiped it out, but I had it on one of my extra drives on my main machine for a little bit. What else have I installed since I'm getting this IC dock? I've installed 4 or 5 different things on these drives. Let's see. Zanera says, hey Derek, Irish Luck just posted a vid on Qtile this morning. I'll have to check that out. There's so little information about Qtile. Really, before I started my channel and doing a lot with the Qtile tiling window manager, very few people have heard of it, and it's been around for years, and I can't understand. It's such a great tiling window manager, and it's been around forever, and it's got a pretty good development team behind it. It's got a great website, good documentation, and, you know, like you go to places like on Reddit, you go to Unix Porn, you know, that particular website where all these guys are posting their Arch with i3 screenshots and all this stuff. You never hear about Qtile, you never see a screenshot of it, nobody knows about it. So, but since doing a lot of my videos on Qtile, I've seen a lot more people mention Qtile now, places like Reddit. So I hope I've brought a little attention to it. I mean, I don't want to claim total credit for that, but I'm seeing it a lot more now, Qtile, and that's a good thing. That particular project, I love it. It needs more attention. It needs more people using it, and in particular, it needs more developers. So you guys that have some Python skills, you know, might want to try to help out that particular project. Yeah, Jenna Aites, she says, hi Derek, love your channel. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Jenna. Mark Yates right behind Jenna says, that's some BS right there. Jenna loving my channel? I hope not. I'm sure Mark was talking about something else. Yeah. JC Disciple says, good Lord, no need to have a package manager. Everything is already installed. Yeah, there is a lot on this ISO. Yeah, Steve Anderson. Steve Gibson has a program named SpinRite. Give it a try to find your data. Yeah. Yeah, Carl Snyder is asking Mark if he needs channel art as well. Let him know. Yeah. Yeah, Mark Yates. You got to make more videos, buddy. The couple of videos you got up, they're pretty decent. You know? You're a knowledgeable guy. You know a lot about Linux. Yeah, you don't have to take it, you know, as serious as some of us, you know, and produce hours and hours of content every week. Not everybody has that kind of time, to be honest. I'm running out of that kind of time. I've got to slow down here eventually, but, you know, post a couple of videos every month. Share your wisdom. I know I would be interested in it. Mark says, Vivaldi's fussing about my page zoom settings. Yeah. Let's see. Missed some of the chat. Sorry about that, guys. Webflow is what Mark Yates was talking about. Okay. Yeah, the Lamer says, I'm on Ubuntu 18.04.1 and I'm telling you it works. I've been on it for 2 weeks. Yeah, Ubuntu always just works. I have never ran Ubuntu, any LTS version of Ubuntu, and it didn't work. So it would be news if it kind of crapped out on you, to be honest. I'm not one of these people that bash on Ubuntu. You know, a lot of people, Ubuntu is a noob distro. I don't like people calling things noob distros. I guess because the install is easy, or maybe because Ubuntu just works. I don't know. But I love Ubuntu. I would have no problem running the Ubuntu LTS on this main production machine of mine and producing this channel. I know it would just work. Yeah, MC support. Dev1 works nicely. I need to check out Dev1. That's another one I haven't checked out on the channel yet. I need to check that one out. A lot of people have asked about it. Let's see. Yeah, the latest GNOME version is pretty okay. Are we talking about the latest GNOME version of Dev1? Or the latest GNOME version of Ubuntu, maybe. We're also talking about Ubuntu 18.04. Mr. Smarty Pants says, hey DT, have you heard of Xfce? Yeah, the Xfce window manager is basically i3 ported for Wayland. Yeah, it's not really, it's more like i3 rewritten for Wayland. Not necessarily, I wouldn't call it a fork, but yeah, it's basically a window manager like i3 written for Wayland, tiling window manager. I have not taken a look at it, though. I don't see the need to take a look at it right now anyway. If I wanted to run i3, I'd just run i3. I guess it's interesting to play with Xfce, you know, for some future where X no longer exists and we're all on Wayland, but that future is more than a decade away. That's how far out it'll be before we even get to that point. No need for me to take a look at Xfce when i3 exists. I guess if I was a developer and I was interested in Wayland development and that sort of thing, maybe, but I may take a look at Xfce eventually on the channel. Possibly. Yeah, Ghost says, might remember me or not, I had linked you a repo regarding my free BSD setup with DWM on Discord. That said, was curious if you'll cover DWM. Yeah, so you have asked me about DWM. I've had a few people ask me about DWM. And I will take a look at it on the channel. I'm committed to taking a look at DWM on the channel. I can't tell you when, but I'm going to do another round of window manager reviews, another obscure window manager project. It will not be 12 because it took me 6 months to finish all 12. I'll do, I don't know, another 4 or 5, and guaranteed DWM will be one of them. BSP WM will be one of them. What other kind of big ones did I miss the first time around? I need to take a look at. Those two are the ones that get the most people asking me about it. DWM and BSPWM. I'm committed to those two, so don't worry about that. I'll get to those. I'll probably also take a look at Window Maker. There's another one I want to look at. So I think those three for sure I'll take a look at. Maybe some others. Let's see. What do you think about LMDE3 Linux Mint Debian Edition? I've never checked it out. Not just the version 3. I've never checked out Linux Mint Debian Edition. I was always kind of a Debian guy anyway. I mean, if I wanted to run Debian, I'd run Debian. Not sure what Linux Mint would bring to the table as far as basing off of Debian. I'm sure it's great though. I mean, all their Mint tools or whatever, but because I do minimal window managers anyway, I'm not going to run like Cinnamon anyway. So I'm going to install something like OpenBox or Xmonad or, you know. So if I'm going to do that, I'm not going to use all the extra stuff that Linux Mint, you know, adds to Debian anyway. I might as well just run mainline Debian if that makes sense for somebody like me. But I might take a look at Linux Mint Debian Edition on the channel for you guys. Yeah, so Lamer says, I didn't know you made videos, talking to Mark Yates. Yep, he's got a couple of uploads. Alright, guys, I'm going to get back to this just for a second. I'm actually going to close this out. It has been about an hour. I know some of you guys probably want to head over to Big Daddy Linux. That particular podcast live stream starts every Saturday night at 9:30. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. One thing I will take a look at really quick is if I go to desktop settings. You guys know I'm going to always check out wallpapers. I'm just curious if they have any kind of unique wallpapers maybe I haven't seen before. This wallpaper pack of theirs does seem to be kind of unique. I don't know if I've seen most of these before. What is that one? prisonplanet.com. I don't know why they got that particular branded wallpaper there, but I don't think I've seen many of these. Yeah, and these are actually really nice wallpapers. Yeah, whatever wallpaper packs they're using here, these are really nice. Really nice, actually. Beautiful wallpapers. So I got to give them credit. You know, if you're going to install, you know, 2.2 gigs of stuff on the ISO, you might as well include some nice wallpapers. So I'm glad they at least got that right. I really hate when people, you know, give me a 3 gig ISO and then there's the default wallpaper and one other wallpaper to choose from. You know, but these are really, really nice. So, as far as, you know, looks, you know, it's an okay looking distro. Again, it's just, it's clunky. You know, it's Unity, but done kind of badly, to be honest. If you're going to do Unity, and Unity still exists, and Unity still functions, and it's in the Ubuntu repos, you based your distro off of Ubuntu, you should have just made a Unity spin. There's no reason to take Xfce and do this. To me, you know, this is kind of a fail. I mean, I was actually hoping to kind of like this. But, I'd have to give this a pass. Anyway, that's my quick look at Zoonity OS Britannia. What do you guys think? Pass, fail? I gotta give it a fail, I think. So, let's see. Yeah, Mark Yates says he has 28 subscribers. I don't deserve 5. Yeah, D8400 says he hasn't been here in a long time. How's it going, DT? Yeah, you know what? You haven't been here in a while, 8400. I've been wondering where you're at. Good to see you. Glad you're back with us. Yeah. And Mr. Hole made 29 subscribers, Mark Yates. He subscribed to your channel. Uh-oh. Boys, hold on to the door. I'm about to bust 30 up in the joint. Yeah, 30 subscribers. Keep it going. He says, DT, I'm coming for you. Bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah, DT, how about this? Waybox, an OpenBox clone on Wayland. Yeah, but, you know, Wayland is so far... You know, a world without Xorg is so far out. Seriously. 2 decades, maybe. I mean, that's not a joke. It may be that long before we no longer have Xorg, you know, installed on our Unix-based systems. OpenBox just works. There's no reason to do anything, you know. i3 just works, you know. Xmonad's never porting to Wayland. I mean, the name Xmonad, guess what the X stands for? The X servers. And I'm not gonna, I need to quit using Xmonad today because 20 years down the road, we may not have the X server, so I need to learn something else. You know, that gets a little ridiculous. And I've actually had users suggest that, you know, Wayland's right around the corner. I need to move on to something that actually works with Wayland. No need to make those kind of jumps just yet. Just hold your horses. Yeah, don't forget the Window Maker video, says Mr. Smarty Pants. Yeah, I'm probably going to do Window Maker because I don't want to do all tiling window managers and I don't want to do all floating window managers for a project like an obscure window manager project. I want to do a mixture, half and half. And I got a pretty good mix of the first 12. I think I did 7 floating window managers and 5 tiling window managers the first round. This next round, I'll try to keep a similar balance. I may do, you know, 3 or 4 tilers and at least a couple of floating window managers. Seems like a lot of the tiling ones are the ones you guys are asking me about for the next round. DWM, BSPWM for sure. Got one guy really bugging me about rat poison. I don't know. We might do rat poison. Anyway, I'm going to kill the stream in about 5 minutes so you guys can get to any other Saturday night streams that may or may not be going on. Let's see. 3. I got 3. Count them. 3 subscriptions or 3 videos. Mark Yates. Yeah. Yep. Lamer says he's heading off to bed. Yep. I got to get to bed too. I can't be up too much later. Got a long day ahead of me. Again, kind of an impromptu stream. I knew I had a couple of hours, you know, before I was going to get to bed. I was like, let me just hit start streaming just to do something today. Yeah, some of those are Mac wallpapers. Okay. Prison Planet is Alex Jones' backup site for InfoWars. Wow. Then why is he using... I wonder if he's even allowed to use that wallpaper. There may be some legal issues, you know, putting something like that on an ISO too. You got to be careful with stuff like that. Yeah, nice wallpapers. So yeah, it really was a nice collection of wallpapers. Yeah, they're actually working on a version with Unity, the same guys, the UXOS guys. Let me go back to that website here, uxoslinux.com. So they're working on a Unity version. That would be great. Their website, by the way, sucks bad. The website gives you no information on anything. It's basically a blog with a few blog posts. It doesn't tell you anything about anything. Never mentions Zoonity OS is based on Xubuntu. Never mentions it's based on Xubuntu 1804. I kind of took a guess at that because checking the kernel version in the terminal, I know Xubuntu 1804 had 4.15 in it, so just kind of an educated guess on that. But their website kind of sucks. Even if I go to the download page, Zoonity OS Britannia really tells me nothing about it. This one paragraph and then a few bullet points, mainly just apps that are installed. So the website could be a lot better. To be honest, the distro as a whole could be a lot better, but again, it's an initial release. Who knows? In a couple years down the road, we all could be running this. You never know. These things, again, a lot of things start small, you know, they get some momentum, you know, the snowball effect. A couple of years, you may see Zoonity, you know, in DistroWatch's top 100 page hit rankings. All right, let me get to the end of the chat here, and then I'm going to shut it down for the evening, guys. Let's see. I still have about 50 of you guys hanging out, watching the stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this evening, because you got absolutely no heads up about this stream. I mean, I gave you guys no heads up. 5 minutes before I started streaming, you know, you might have got a notification, maybe. So, yeah. MC Support says, I gotta fix my internet connection. My download speed dropped from 1 gig to 54 megabytes. See you later. Okay, see you. Thanks for hanging out, MC. Zanera says, I've watched Mark Yates' videos. He's pretty good. Yeah. Benjamin. Wayland has been a nightmare the 2 times I tried it on both GNOME and Plasma 5 on Arch. I am sure there is a way to make it work. I'd rather just use Xorg. Well, there's no way to make it work as far as making Wayland work. It's not ready yet, you know. If it was ready, we'd all be using it. Wayland is still very much experimental software. And any distro you have Wayland on, you still have Xorg on that same system too. Like if you have Fedora, they may be using Wayland by default, but you can log in using Xorg too. And that's by design, is because some things are just not going to work. Yeah, Mr. Hole says, this is the only stream I want to be a part of. Well, even if you don't have other streams to go to, Mr. Hole, sadly I do need to log off here in a little bit. Yeah, Mr. Smarty Pants says, good night, DT. Thank you. Good night to you, sir. Ghost says he hasn't been active here, but we'll change that. Oh, thank you, Ghost. Yeah, come back and see us. See, yeah, Michael says, I'm head out. Good night. Like the stream. Yep. And you guys that are still here, yeah, definitely hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. It does help the channel. It really does. The more you guys like, subscribe, share, the more you guys comment on the videos, like this live stream. After the stream is done, you know, and within a couple of minutes, you guys can comment. Leaving comments helps the videos rank better. Helps me rank better in the YouTube algorithms. Gets more eyes on the channel. Gets more eyes on Linux content. Hopefully converts more people over to the Linux side. Ultimately, that is our goal here. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Thank you, Mr. Hole, Benjamin, Ghost, Mark, Michael, Mr. Smarty Pants, you guys still hanging out here till the end. Before I go, I also need to give a special thanks to my patrons. Of course, I'm talking about A.K. Allen, Alex, Ansem, Tony, Bart, Benjamin, Ben, Bruno, Brian, Carl, Christian, Chuck, Dan, the other Daniel, David, Eduardo, Greg, Humane Interceptor, Jake, John, Crawl, Katrina, Keith, Leor, Marcus, the other Marcus, Matt, Mark, Matthias, Michael, Mr. GFY, Mr. Smarty Pants, Mr. Neely Pops, Paul, Rob, Robert, Ron, Silvio, first Stephen, second Stephen, third Stephen, Swami, Tiedemann, Voice Love to Bella and John. You guys rock. You guys help make this show possible. Peace, guys.